Yeah, against this right back, Charlie.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on.
There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on.
I mean, with an introduction like that, with supporters across Twitch, YouTube, and I think we're even locked in on Twitter with people like yourselves, what more can I say? Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Hope everyone's having a fine Sunday. People deluded, I'm back again. As usual, if you're on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. Emphasis on the like. You know, the engagement has been on an upwards trajectory. That's because of you lot. As I say, every like button pushes the YouTube algorithm to grow our platform. If you're not following on Twitch and them things, get involved in that. Obviously, any comments, get them in, people. Again, we have to remember we are not in the transfer market. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. Everybody's interested in everyone. You know, every Premier League team, every top 4 or 5 team in any league, they're all interested in someone. We ain't been linked with Jude Bellingham. That doesn't mean we're going to bid. So the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. And we don't know what Arteta or Edu or any clubs are or aren't doing, because I think, you know, we should know this anyways. But if you look at last January, half the, you know, I think in a nice way, no matter how much the journalists sit here and say, this guy's moving this place, that and the other, we don't actually know. Cody Gakpo's over there at Liverpool. You know, he was dead set to go Man United based on reports. Obviously, at one point, Mudryk was a formality at Arsenal Football Club. And there's plenty of other examples, people. So there's many twists, turns, bumps, bruises, and all of them things. That Rodri tackle, if I speak, I'm not going to lie, yeah. First, I don't know if it was a mad tackle, because on one hand, I don't understand how Norway, I didn't watch the game, I don't understand how they didn't get a penalty. I do think it was an overzealous tackle. Conspiracy theorist settings, maybe Pep told him what to do. It was a dangerous one. First time round, obviously, I'm normally the guy in Sunday League doing them sort of tackles. So I thought there's nothing really wrong with that. He didn't maliciously go out to hit Odegaard, but then I looked at it again, I was like, oof. You know, see why I don't like these international breaks? You need to be like Haaland, Odegaard. All of a sudden, I've got a hamstring, I've got diarrhea, I need to go back to London, Coley. Do what you see Rashford do. Rashford's just spending this time touring America with his significant other, man. We need to keep these players fit. England actually play Ukraine today. Saka got 85 minutes, you know. Hopefully, Saka's pulled a little sick note as well, because next week we've got Leeds, fella, and we're going to need you and everybody else. It was a pen, but it wasn't even that mad. Not like he two-footed him. Obviously, Twitter's going to go mad. I think it was a rough tackle. And obviously, you don't want to see Odegaard on the receiving end of it. I think the biggest question with Rodri is, why are you sliding in the box like that, man, really? Shout out my Polish ones tuned in. Appreciate you lot. Give us righty one more time. What the people want, the people getting it.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on.
Hopefully, you're all right with that one. So, yeah, shout yourself, Biddy. What have you said? DG Walgo and shout from the motherland. We need to spin the block on Rodri. What was that tackle on Odegaard? What is man's agenda? To be fair, the ball was there to be won, but we'll do a get back, man. I haven't. Is Spain playing Scotland? Because I don't know why, but something just tells me Tierney's meant to be meeting Spain. I could be wrong, but if that is the case, then hopefully Tierney does what needs to be done. What's understood ain't got to be explained, man. T, appreciate you. Shout out the Twitch ones and everybody else. What have you said? Rice is a no-brainer due to the homegrown numbers. Still take Telemans on the 3-2 for better backup option than Sambi, El Nene, and Jorginho. Same ability, but one is a lot younger. I hear you. I think I've been here with Telemans, innit? I think if Telemans is available on a free, I think there's a lot of teams, us included, that would look at it. Clearly, there's an admiration at the football club for his talents and things, but it just feels like we'll move away from that. He's for the last couple of years, he's had one leg out of the door at Leicester. Obviously, in the summer, allegedly, and in January, we didn't want to give them 20 million odd because his contract was running down. So if you get him on a free, why not? Premier League proven. We've signed Willian and Cedric and players like that, and we did not have any real good luck with them. But where Jorginho, Trossard, Benjamin White to a degree, Ramsdale to a degree, Jorginho's now coming. Buying from the Premier League clubs has kind of served us all right, really. So maybe we could keep going with that. Telemans is Premier League proven. He is of the right age. He does have the scope to improve and get better. I think he'd look a lot better with our team. I just feel if we're going for a number 8 and a 6, Telemans can play that. But is he evidently the curtain raiser? I'm not saying he couldn't. Xhaka surprised us in a way. But is it evident? And I'm not saying he's not. But you can see Arsenal want to sign Declan Rice. He could potentially be a curtain raiser. Does Telemans raise the curtain levels of our midfield to a certain degree? I'd have to leave you with that. And kind of what you've alleged to, we're already congested in midfield. There is a world where you could get him. And obviously, you'd imagine, respectfully, Jorginho probably won't be here in the next 2 years. Obviously, El Nene as well. Partey and Xhaka are 29, 30. So we've got to look at long-term heirs. But it just feels that if we are going to sign players in a position that's already highly congested at Arsenal, we're going to sign players that are curtain raisers in a sense. And I don't know if you believe or not believe that with Declan Rice or Caicedo or any of these guys. Lavia as well, even though he's got a lot of potential. I'm not too sure, really. But I'm taking Telemans. The problem is I want a confirmed curtain raiser as an 8, and I kind of want that as a 6. And does Telemans necessarily delve into that? I don't know. I think, like I said, it's more for me an admiration of his talent, his technical ability, and the fact of I think Telemans would cook at Arsenal. And a free transfer, yes, that would be adjusted because obviously you'd have to give him probably even more money on a free and a decent signing on fee, but there wouldn't be a transfer fee. I hear that. Big up DG. Thoughts on Arsenal fans going mad on Twitter on Rodri's challenge on Odegaard? They're going to go mad, innit, really? What more is there to be said, man? The way man are going on about that Rodri tackle, I thought he drop kicked him. Same, I thought he did a madness. It weren't that mad, but you don't want to really see that. Will you still take Aouar? I think even for me, he's still team Aouar. I think we have to bite the bullet and accept that train went years ago, man. The ticket's not valid anymore. So, yeah, man, keep your thoughts coming, folks. Keep your thoughts coming. It was a mad tackle. You don't want to see that. And again, you want Arsenal players wrapped in cotton wool, but it can happen, man. It can happen. I can't lie. I should have put Telemans there. Do you know what? Because it seems like Arsenal genuinely want Declan Rice, I think Declan would be great. I love the potential that Lavia could provide at this club. Obviously, respectfully, the levels are different from Arsenal and Southampton or any club he's going to go to. Who else is there? Telemans, I'd accept it. I wouldn't even cancel out Ruben Neves, really. I don't think he's a terrible player, and apparently Barcelona have gone cold. For me, the number one target would be Zubimendi. The more I see of this player, the more I see you could cook at Arsenal. You could do some really good things in our midfield. He can actually play centre-half, more the sort of Spanish sort of centre-back, but I think he would be lit. I think his metrics off the ball in terms of passes complete via 90, the distance he covers. He could, ironically, I know Rodri's not a name people want to hear, but I think he could be in his own little way, our Rodri, and he's of the right age. The problem is he's based on what the man has said at face value. He doesn't appear too keen to leave his football club at this moment, but he did sign a new deal last year. And he didn't raise his transfer release clause, as you know. Every player in Spain has to have that. So if you're not, if you don't agree to your club raising the release clause, is that keeping an eye open for Barcelona or Arsenal? Because some reports say he's keen on joining the Premier League side. Some say he's not. Some say he wanted to leave in Jan. Some say he doesn't. It's hella whispers. So we'll just never know. Foden out and we'll miss the Liverpool game. Bro, what's going on there? Foden, Haaland, but if anyone's got depth to cope with these guys, it is Man City. For Yuri, I would get him if Xhaka leaves the club. He'd be a rotation player. Zubimendi is the truth. How you doing, man? Up the Gunners for life. I'm great, man. I hope you're doing great as well. And everybody else tuning in, keep your opinions and whatnot coming. Højlund again has almost scored a hat-trick again. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen it on Twitter. He looks decent. And Atalanta spent 17 million odd euros on him. They're going to make a handsome profit on that, if I do say so myself. Do you think Saka is worth what he's getting paid? I think he's the worst on the team. I was deluded. Anyways, Onana from Everton will be a good signing for our midfield. Again, if Lavia, if Onana, if these guys get relegated, respectfully, there's deals to be had. Can we get all three of them? What, Lavia, Caicedo, and Declan Rice? In theory, if you put down the money, yeah. In reality, probably not going to. There's a lot of moving parts. As somebody said, it's congested in midfield. Again, while if you want to join a big club or a team aspiring to do stuff, there's going to be more competition. But if you're Declan Rice, if you're Caicedo, if you're Lavia, I think we could. I would love for us to get 2 of the 3. I hope we could get 1. 3 out of 3 would be great. But for all of these players, you should believe that you could play. You should believe that you could be the first name on the team sheet. But realistically, there is a lot of football to be played season in, season out. You can see how vital a squad is. But at the end of the day, Arteta can only make 5 subs, can only have X amount on the bench. Only 3 midfielders in the current system can start really and truly. And no one's going to start ahead of Odegaard because none of these players are in that remit. If you're joining Arsenal, you have to think, okay, if I'm Caicedo, all right, and let's just assume Declan signed as well. You've got Declan, you've got Partey, you have got Jorginho who plays in that role. You have got El Nene. How much football would I get? So probably not really. That double sub killed Foden, so he left. Obviously, Southgate's going to play Saka again. Big up Mikel Arteta on his birthday, as you said. With that being said, keep your thoughts on whatnot coming, people. Let's actually find some Arsenal-related news in the papers and whatnot. Thanks for the news. Sorry, just making a timestamp. Smash the like button if you haven't. Let's go through everything. I actually wanted to start here. Is it here? Yeah, I actually wanted to start here, people. I was just reading this in relation to Saka and Zinchenko and that. And apparently, Bukayo Saka said on Zinchenko, he's brought quality. You can see how he plays and how he controls the game. He's an outstanding player. He's not only a quality player, he has outstanding leadership qualities. He's helping us on both fronts. Shout out to him. He's got a bit of fire about him and he uses it in ways that help him on the pitch. He uses it to get him going and win duels. He also has the other side to him, the balance in his head he needs to play. On Jesus and obviously Zinchenko, people, Bukayo Saka said, they brought that winning mentality to us as players who have been there and won the league in difficult moments. They know how it feels. They can encourage us because we have a lot of young players. They help us with the mental side. No one can ever understand what he is going through. He's a man of incredible mental strength. To be able to get his mind on the game when he's playing for Arsenal and for his country to perform that well is a credit to him. That's obviously in relation to what's going on with Ukraine. We'll come back to this about Declan Rice, but I thought this was a bit of an interesting article from the Coach's Voice, people, in relation to Declan Rice and what sort of player we could be assuming we're going to get. But allegedly, people, a latest development where he's concerned, Arsenal in pole position to sign Declan Rice after multiple West Ham offers. Arsenal are still in pole position to sign Declan Rice this summer. Sources have told Football Insider. Smash the like button. Chelsea are still interested in pursuing a deal for Rice, but the Gunners are currently leading the race. The 24-year-old's preference is to remain in London as he prepares to quit West Ham in the summer. The midfielder's current contract at the London Stadium runs until 2024. That includes the option of a further 12 months. The England international has already rejected multiple new contract offers for the Hammers, including an 8-year deal worth 83 million that would have made him the highest paid player in the club's history. Rice has repeatedly made clear his ambitions to play for a big club that is competing in the Champions League and fighting at the top of the table. So we'll have to see, people. He's currently made 34 appearances across all comps with 2 goals and 4 assists to his name. His presence in the team hasn't prevented them from languishing at the bottom of the Premier League table as the season nears. Hopefully West Ham stay up because I like them really, but boys, Pete, you've seen here Arsenal put Runnison up for sale after offer green light. Get that done, man. What do you mean? I'm not even going to click on that. Just get that done. Rice has been in for some criticism once again. Graham Souness has doubled down and he's taken another swipe at the Arsenal, Chelsea and Man United target. And again, I'm not here to slate Declan Rice. I'm just here to see the opinions. In an earlier column this season, I wrote that Declan Rice still had much to prove in certain areas of his game to be regarded as a really top-class central midfield player. He needs to get on the half-turn more when he receives the ball from his defenders and play it forward more and not be content with going back to where it came from and with his square passes. I'm not going to lie, I think he's right. If you sign for Mikel Arteta, you're going to have to do that. Partey's the 6. He still has to contribute in attacking movements and has the confidence to do such. So again, Declan Rice at 23, 24, as great as he is and playing for his country and captain and that, he's not going to be the finished article. You know, half of these players, even players that you would say with Partey and actually Xhaka, who are relatively the finished article, they've improved in certain ways under Mikel Arteta. So that doesn't worry me necessarily if we were to sign him, people. But that is something because the way you play at West Ham and at Arsenal from minute 0 to 90 is going to be different. So I don't think he's wrong with that. You're going to have to do that. And he needs to chip in with more goals. He has scored twice in the Premier League this season in 26 games. That's not enough. I mean, he's never going to be known as a goal scorer per se. Fair enough if Arteta kind of does the Xhaka sort of role, rework with him, then enough. It is what it is. But I'm not too sure. He definitely gets into another goal scoring positions. It is something, but I'm not expecting him to turn into a Frank Lampard in terms of goal scoring. Now Rice has said his piece too. He thinks that my criticism is harsh, and I don't see him play every week. That's true, but I've seen him enough for West Ham and for England. I watched the game against Italy, and the same things were on show. Any world-class midfielder is on the half turn most of the time looking to play forward. I don't think that's wrong, but at the same time, Jude Bellingham had a bit of a tough game in Italy, really. You know, he kind of struggled in terms of forward passes. How many times did Rice do that in Naples? Not nearly enough. Get some videos of Kroos and Modric playing in midfield, roles for Real Madrid, or go back a few years and watch goals. I mean, again, if he can add more layers to his game, definitely you could learn. You'd be a fool to be a midfielder and think you couldn't learn something from, you know, a quality player in Paul Scholes. Modric and Kroos, like Scholes, speak for themselves. But he's not them. In many ways, he needs to take. I do think Arteta might have similar criticisms, but you're not them. You haven't got that in your locker, so be the best you can be. As we saw against Italy, he has mastered the defensive side of the job, which is what we need at the carpet, as well as everything else fundamentally. But I just think he has to strive to be better and never be content with his lot. That's what great players do. I mean, I don't think Declan Rice is content. He could sign, as we just read in a previous article, you could earn 80-odd million, sign a new contract at West Ham. They love respect. I'm not saying West Ham don't ask him to do better in things, but they'll love you for what you're doing. You're the captain. You're going to play regular football. Whether he goes to Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, respectfully to West Ham, these are clubs with bigger ambitions. These are clubs where there's going to be more competition, really. So I'm not too sure. Will he end up one day as a central defender, which I think is very possible? I think so as well. As he gets on, I think he could very well have a future at centre-half. Or does he want to be a top central midfielder star in the Champions League every season? I bet Declan is a cracking lad to work with and popular with his teammates and great to manage, but he needs to aim for the stars. This is just my opinion. But I think he should ask himself one question as he moves his career forwards. How do I become a truly world-class player? The bottom line is at 24, he must be consistently challenging himself to get better. For what it's worth. And like I said, we're going to come back to that and look at that, but I don't think they're wrong. Shout out to Emil Smith-Rowe. He got his first start in 9 months, and I'm sure you saw, you know, England's under-21s run absolute riot against France. You know, obviously he scored a header. Curtis Jones and that Madueke guy at Chelsea were sourcing. Like, France got sourced, really. His under-21s gaffer, Lees Carsley, said, I really like Emil. He's a player with massive potential. I think he showed in patches tonight that he's a top player. Now he just needs minutes to play games and trust his body to train and play at a high level. He got about 65 minutes out there today. My plan will be that he gets more minutes on Tuesday. So hopefully these 2 games he stars in can get him a bit more fluid and a lot more and roughing out the rough patches he's got in his game currently because he's been out, and we can use him for these last 10 games in the Premier League. Smith-Rowe FC. Shout out to Austin Trusty. He made his debut, and I think he got an assist as well for America, putting himself in the shop window. Milinkovic-Savic will not renew his contract with Lazio. There's a 90% chance he will transfer in the summer. The price tag could be 40 million euros. We've heard this a lot of times, people. I think Balogun has been speaking. He seems to be leading quite the media campaign, people. Smash the like button if you have not done such already. 60 more likes and we've hit our target of 100. Balogun refuses to rule out Gunner's exit this summer as he claims a lot could change after a prolific season with Reims in Liga amid European interest. He has 17 goals in 27 for Reims. He'll return to Arsenal and his future is uncertain. Does he leave permanently? Does he get an opportunity? Does he go out on loan again? Does he sign a new deal? Doesn't he? Who knows? And I think in principle, he hasn't said much wrong. Apparently, AC Milan are believed to be one of a number of European clubs keen on Balogun, and he has left the door open to an exit after claiming a lot could change. When asked on the official Liga website, Balogun said, yeah, I mean, contractually, I have to go back because the loan was for 1 year. So that was always the agreement, but I wouldn't. I'm not sure what is going to happen in the future. I mean, all he can deal with the present, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, you doing what you're doing has made this a talking point. A lot could change. A lot could happen in football. A lot could change. And it just depends on the conversations we have between me and the club in the summer. We'll see what happens. He then said on a potential return to Liga, he said, yeah, I mean, there's no door that's closed. Of course, I've had a good year here. And to a lot of people, it makes sense for me to come back here. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the future will bring, but definitely I would advise young players to come out here. It's a really, really tough league, a league that will help you improve. You get to play in crazy atmospheres. If you're ready to take yourself out of your comfort zone, I would advise any young player to come here. Fair enough, Balogun. You know, fair enough. Southgate has been speaking about Balogun's chances with England. He said, we like Flo. He has obviously not had an opportunity in the Premier League yet. So we have to weigh up those goals to Ivan Toney, for example, or Ollie Watkins or Eddie Nketiah, who have done really well with the opportunity he has had at Arsenal. So indirectly, Eddie might be on the radar, but at this moment in time, Ollie Watkins' form has been great. You've got Harry Kane and you've got Ivan Toney. I don't know if Callum Wilson's in the squad. He probably shouldn't be there if he is on current form, but fair enough. I know there are going to be offers as 80% of our players can play for more than one country now, and we are not arrogant expecting everyone to want to come to play for England. We have to make them feel wanted and feel part of it. Ultimately, it does not matter what you say. If you cannot give them the opportunity now, then some people are patient and want to see it through and are prepared to wait a bit, and others want it now, and I could totally understand that. Fair enough. Apparently, for what it's worth, Pulisic wants him to play for America. Obviously, I've seen that he's in Florida. I haven't really spoken to him personally, but I know some of the guys that know him from previous teams or whatever have reached out to him and spoken to him. Obviously, from our side, we'd love to have him. So we'll have to see exactly what happens in relation to Balogun's future at club level and at international level I'd say in the medium to long term, because in the short term, he's on load, isn't he, people? DG Declan can be a backup at right back too, at centre back too, which obviously helps, right sided specifically. Caicedo, for me, I don't want to hear he's better in this role with Rice, considering he can play multiple positions. Need at least 2 signings in midfield, 1 6 and 1 wavy done to compete with Saka, or better yet, Xhaka. Comparing Rice to Cruz is setting him up for failure. It's harsh, bro. Like, it's piano pushers and piano players. Declan Rice is a piano pusher. You're next to Jude Bellingham, and all them other wavy guys. Your job in the team, yeah, you could contribute, you could do whatever, but you're not there to play the piano. Smith Rowe looked isolated on the left wing yesterday. Not his fault. Hit the like button. Stylish. Big up yourself. And off-cut greens. Appreciate you as well. So that's in relation to Balogun. What next have we got? Again, I'll just keep one eye open on anything Ruben Neves, really, because apparently Barcelona have turned down the chance to take him, people, which could mean someone that's contracted until 2024. Apparently Arteta likes him, and he's obviously been linked with us before, as well as Man United and other clubs. Could be one to watch. Apparently it looks like Barcelona are expected to focus on signing Gundogan on a free, which, again, we did hear previous reports of they prefer him over Ruben Neves, and also Xavi isn't necessarily as convinced as some of his technical staff on Ruben Neves' capabilities, to the point where some reports say a deal was all tied up for him to go Barcelona, if you read reports today. Yes, last season, but Xavi forfeited that. Gundogan looks to be moving closer to Barca. Couldn't begrudge him for that. Fabrizio Romano, apparently Arsenal is reportedly seeking to strengthen its midfield for the upcoming season, with 2 potential targets identified by transfer insider Fabrizio Romano. Arsenal are keeping an eye on the player, in brackets Lavia. So Arsenal are following Romeo Lavia, but at the moment there's still nothing advanced. Arsenal have many options, and again, remember my words, Moise Caicedo remains a target after the discussions they had during the January transfer window. So again, Caicedo is in the list again at Arsenal, and Lavia is a player they're following. So following could mean monitoring. It don't mean we're going to move for them. We don't know how high up the list these lot score, really. So we'll have to see. But as Fabrizio, he's doubled down. Lavia will be one to watch in the summer. There's a buyback clause City have, which is valid until 2024. So if Southampton stay in the league, they might indirectly say, do you know what, if Southampton stay in the Prem, stay there for a year, develop. Remember, it's a Euros next year. You've got called up into the Belgium team as a result of what you're doing at Southampton. Do what you're doing and we'll come back for you and you can return home. He's also been linked with Chelsea, who apparently wanted him last summer. Obviously, Joe Shields, went to Chelsea, and he's been at Southampton and City. Read between the lines, makes sense. And apparently, Chelsea are also still keen on Caicedo. So everybody's fighting for the same players. Southampton, you got no chance of keeping him if you get relegated. I mean, you do, but you don't. Celta Vigo expect Gabby Vega to depart the club this summer. The 20-year-old, who is having a stunning breakthrough season, has a £40 million release clause within his contract, people. And Romano's also said we're still very keen on Caicedo in a follow-up tweet. Arsenal now interested in phenomenal youngster. He just scored his first international goal. Arsenal now reportedly interested in RB Salzburg defender Amar Didic. That's according to Spanish outlet Sport, who believe Barcelona and AC Milan are also keen on the Bosnian. Apparently he can play right back, so bring him in, really, whoever he is. Apparently he has a market price. Well, this says people, apparently Barcelona is not the only team, as Arsenal and Milan are also interested in a footballer with good individual technique, good physique and great offensive projection. Didic can play on both sides. Bring him. I'm sold. Never seen the guy, but I'm sold. He has a market price of 10 million euros, 8.8, and has established himself in the Austrian league. So we'll have to see. If he's an emerging talent, we should be finding these guys. And if he really is an excellent tackler and enjoys getting into forward areas, it seems like someone that's competent to do the defensive and offensive tasks of the game. And with his age, 20, as I think it said, and a price tag of 8.8 million. I know Fresneda is probably the top option. That could be a good backup. Once again, Arsenal have been linked with Vlahovic. Apparently, he'll leave in the summer and marry, Google Translate not helping us, between Real Madrid and Arsenal. I'm pretty bored of this now, people. And it says Juventus are interested in Højlund as well. So you can see how this has created journalism. We covered this yesterday, but for those who weren't here, Arsenal set to ditch 7 players, including record signing Pepe, but fear they'll have to pay 140k a week flop to go. Let's go to the bulk of the article. Really and truly. So yeah, we knew that with Pepe. Where is it? Because I read this already. Yeah, people. Pepe, the bulk of the articles in relation to Pepe, but they said they are ready to listen to offers for AZ Maitland-Niles, Sambi Lokonga, Nuno Tavares, Pablo Mari, Cedric Suarez, and Alex Runnison, but know that few of that list are likely to attract substantial bids. And there's also uncertainty regarding the long-term futures of Kieran Tierney, Rob Holding, and Balogun as Mikel Arteta prepares for another summer to upgrade to prepare his squad for a return to the Champions League next season. So read into that what you will, people. If Barcelona sign Victor Rogan and Aubameyang as well as recovering Abdi, they would sell a forward Fati and Ferran Torres are options. So expect Arsenal to be linked with either or both. Once you can see here, Barca reached an agreement with Mendes to bring Neves to the club last summer, but they never went ahead with the deal because Xavi does not consider him a defensive midfielder. The player got tired of waiting and has ruled out signing for Barcelona. Fair enough, really. Alexis McAllister's dad's been speaking, people, and he has said clubs are starting to call us for Alexis, but there are no concrete talks now. We'll decide together with Brighton. They deserve respect. We'll pick the best project based on the coach. It's not about money. He's been linked with Chelsea. He's been linked with Arsenal, been linked with Man United. He's currently got 9 goals this season. He did sign a new deal just before the World Cup, which ties him down to 2025 with the option of another year. So they're looking to tie down Mitoma, tie down Caicedo, and well, they've tied him down and McAllister. So it's going to need to be top bids. Let's see what else has been said. Arsenal joined the race for Lavia. We've heard that. Smash the like button. Declan Rice has rejected final attempts of contract offers from West Ham, allegedly. We joined the race to sign Ilias, who could be a free transfer from Barcelona. Sevilla, AC Milan and Leeds are all interested as well. We're interested in Diaz. We're set to place a bid for Zubimendi in coming months, people. He has a release clause of 60 million quid, so that's 50 and some change. We're willing to spend 50 million euros on Højlund of Atalanta. We've entered the race for Noah Okafor. We're trying to tie down Odegaard until 2030. We're the front runners for Moussa Diaby. He's leaning towards Arsenal. However, the Gunners could face competition from Premier League colleagues Newcastle and Paris Saint-Germain. We're interested in Benassia. Everyone's interested in everyone more. Caicedo hype. Gabby Vega. We've been linked with Eden Hazard, lol, Julian Brandt, Xavi Simmons, Paulinho, Jonathan David, lol. So with that mops up that part. In fact, so with that being said, we might as well look at this Declan Rice article, people, because again, if they're using WeScout, it must mean they're going over certain things. So yeah, man. City are worried. Gabby Vega is such a baller. Wish he was more proven. I hear that. He looks lit, man. Lavia with a small sample size has more about his game than Rice and Caicedo would be my pick of the lot. I hear that. Short and lazy description from me, Spanish verts. I hear that. Højlund has 2 goals so far today. Guy is fake. He looks like he was made in the same lab. We'd love Vega, man. Looks like a box-to-box midfielder. With him being Spanish, I want to see him play deeper in midfield. Go straight onto the conveyor belt, though, will come good. He would need time. I don't know for Diaby, though. I can't lie to you, man. I'm not that convinced on Moussa Diaby of Leverkusen. I think he's a good player, but I don't know for 50-odd million quid. Should we see what this is saying about Declan Rice? Because as I said, I think it's an interesting article. Declan Rice doesn't carry himself like a junior member of the team he plays in. Again, we don't need his life story. We know all of that stuff. Again, here we go. Tactical analysis. Rice is a defensively minded player who does his best work winning the ball and protecting his defense. I love that. We need that. His seamless conversion from a central defender into a defensive midfielder, where he's shown a real talent for delaying and breaking up attacks, particularly at the point of an attacking transition for his opponents, has proven just how naturally that side of the game comes to him. He has the ability to spot danger, and that only the best ball winners have. Rice is similar in that regards to Kante. Like Kante, he covers an awful lot of ground and makes both tackles and interceptions in big numbers, even if he doesn't quite match the Frenchman's statistics. Rice is a tenacious player, strong in attack, combative in the air. He is 2-footed. Overselling it a bit. He all right with both feet, as a professional footballer should be, especially Premier League and country level midfielder, and able to jockey opponents in either direction. and to turn and sprint either way. Should his opponent knock the ball past him and try to beat him for pace, he's so difficult to beat when one-on-one with an opponent that he has an incredibly useful ability to slow attacks down, allowing teammates to make recovery runs and regain their team shape before damage can be done. Again, we know this. We haven't learned anything. Now I'm getting a bit disappointed. His anticipation, agility, ball winning ability means he's very capable at counter pressing, which could be of attraction to Arteta. And he often wins the ball back early on following a loss of possession. We know the importance to Pep Guardiola's system and also Arteta's before quickly distributing the ball to a more attacking teammate. All right, you can go do that. That means that players further forward, such as West Ham's wide attackers, Bowen and Fornals, can gamble on Rice winning the ball back by adopting a position beyond their direct opponent in the hope Rice will get the ball their way quickly. That can be a risky approach, but it's one that pays in big rewards when it does work. Smash the like button, folks. That is something we do at Arsenal. A lot of unselfish work that he does, and he does a lot, goes under the radar. He makes the kind of contribution to his teams that is often overlooked when assessing the impact of a player on a match or team, because so much of what he does is a result of good positioning that will slow down opposing attacks or force play towards the wings. Rice's most eye-catching work, however, is done after regaining, turning defense into attack. Well, as you can see here. And again, he's a player that can obviously cover wide areas. So something Xhaka does off the ball defensively, which he's not really given that much credit for. So that's a plus point. He has an incredibly powerful runner, and he's capable of carrying the ball forwards at pace to launch a counter. He is a good, I wouldn't say he's I think there's a difference between dribbling and ball carrying. Saka is a dribbler, and he can obviously carry. Rice is more of a ball carrier. He can carry a ball, Again, I'm getting hung up on words, but you get the point. That's cool. To launch a counter-attack or simply break the lines before distributing to a teammate. He has the physical attributes to burst right through the heart of an opponent, and he can maneuver the ball to beat players that try to close him down before sprinting away from them. In those situations, opponents often resort to fouling him or stretching the rules to stop him. Haven't learned anything there. I'm getting a bit disappointed. He has a very good passing ability, and it's improving too. While he's good at retaining and recycling the ball, how many times does he play it forward or is required to play it forward at West Ham? So that's an area of improvement. He plays vertical passes where possible. He does. As I always said, I think he's a lot better on the ball than given credit for. And he has the ability to play accurate, long-range diag passes towards an advancing winger to switch play. That could be good for Saka. Most of the time, he's conservative with his passes, which is in his role cool, but Arteta's going to demand you to be a bit braver, like he has in every role, whether you're a squad player or not, that has played with us. He's conservative with his passing, playing simple passes to more attacking teammates, but given he can play dangerous balls forward, opponents cannot sit off him and allow him space to pick his passes. He's more than a capable link between defense and midfield. His aerial ability also means he is a threat at attacking set pieces. That's good, because I think Gabriel's have probably scored more, but I think Saliba's work defensively and offensively at set pieces is really underrated. So the more threats we can get from set piece scenarios and defending, here for that. A tactic he has had some success with at both club and international level. However, he is more of a threat when challenging for and pouncing on loose balls in the area when his anticipation is again of real use. His role at West Ham, Rice's all-round ability and his formidable partnership with Souček means his manager can play formations with just two midfielders, 4-2-3-1 here, and we've gone with 3-4-3. Again, this is getting a bit boring, people. But yeah, again, long story short, him and Souček alternate positions on a regular basis. Rice has slightly more freedom to attack. He's the younger man in there. He makes long bursting runs to drive his team towards the ball, though it is rare to see either player advance beyond the ball. That's true. If either is caught out of position, they will make every effort to quickly get the ball, to get back into the out of position shape. That is such an important part of Moyes' philosophy. That shape involves Rice and Souček remaining close together and near to their defense with the aim of limiting the opponent's space between the lines and preventing passes through central lanes. Moyes likes his teams to funnel play to wide areas where possible because they're not a threat, typically, as much as you can say that. And Rice and Souček do a good job of ensuring that happens. Rice plays a key role in winning the ball back and then transitioning into attack and forward passes during established periods of possession. He also does an important job in helping West Ham break them opposition down with wide breaking passes into Bowen, Fornals or Benrahma. So the positives I see from that is, you have more ability on the ball than being provoked in that West Ham side. You're good off the ball. You understand that you might have to do the less glamorous things to let other players shine. You might not have the best of passing range, but if you see Saka, Martinelli, whoever in wide areas, you're going to knock the ball into them. And you do have an engine to get forward. So And I just like the fact of, things that people were criticizing for is actually what we need at Arsenal. We need someone who can put a foot in, someone who can mop up. We see what Partey gives, as much as Jorginho's been good. We see what Partey gives us when he is fit. We saw it when he came off the bench against Everton. We've seen it historically. And Partey's really been in a very good patch of form. So I'm having Declan Rice. Yeah, it's overpaying and he's not the most glamorous. And Zubimendi would probably be my target ahead of Declan, but I'd be happy with it. And he finds wide men. So there's a lot to like about him. And you can see how this can transition and be enhanced if he signs for Arsenal and whatnot, people. He's far more effective at playing those balls from left to right than he is from right to left. So he's more going to lean towards Odegaard, I guess, and Saka. But he's going to have to do what he's doing there. He is a real force in the West Ham midfield, able to dominate opponents physically and with the ball at his feet. And he is a significant part of the reason West Ham have shown such marks of improvement under Moyes. The West Ham manager might have done Rice a disservice by calling him a holding midfielder, but there's so much more to his game than defending. His assessing of him as a player who is worth more than 100 million might just prove accurate, though. Given how important he is to their team, the truth is that even an offer that big might not be enough to tempt West Ham into selling such a key figure. We'll have to see. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed with the article. I thought we'd learn something there. Didn't really, but nonetheless, there it is, people, for you lot. So yeah, smash the like button and everything else, people. What did you make of the news? What's you lot's questions, talking points, etc.? I'm going to make sure we're not missing anything. I don't think there's any other Arsenal-related news, to be brutally honest with you lot, people. Nonetheless, let's see what you lot are saying. But you're right about the Lavia sample size. And the thing I would say with Rice, with Caicedo, with Lavia, the expectations are different. Respectfully to them, I'm not saying their club fans don't criticize when they've done bad, but they're not, they're not under the microscope like these players would be if they go to bigger clubs. Everything they can kind of do as well. Everything, good or bad, is going to be highlighted, and all of them are going to have to change the way they play. Obviously, I think the way Brighton play is quite not completely different, but very similar to what Arsenal do. So I don't think Caicedo would struggle. But what's demanded of him in the team, that Arteta demands of him, typically being a top six side, is going to be different from what De Zerbi does. Evidently, what David Moyes and Arteta asks Declan Rice for, there's obviously going to be similarities. There's some things, regardless of the position you play, you have to do. But clearly, it's more like a fluid engine at Arsenal. David Moyes is more old school sort of thing. And Lavia, again, everything's going to be highlighted. So it could make sense, definitely where Lavia is concerned, to stay where he's staying, man. Noari needs to get game time for us. We need him to sign a new contract. I mean, you're the youngest player to have played in the Premier League. You've been called up. You're 15, 16. You're playing for England, doing quite well. You're playing up the age groups. I don't think he's an idiot. He knows how young he is and things don't happen. But I think Arsenal have done all they can to convince him on that basis. Arsenal are going for the Premier League at this moment. You can't really give him that. So, if he wants to stay, great. If not, it'll be an L. But we move in it. You've got Miles there. It's not like we've lost both. Just keep it going. So yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe, as my guy said there. Edu and Arteta need to start unearthing the unknown gems from Brazil and Spain. Saliba is an example of how we need to conduct business. I don't know what he's waiting for, considering he won't get first team game time at Chelsea or City. He can play cup games for us. Don't even know, man. I can't lie, DG, but Caicedo doesn't move me, too basic for my liking. That's actually one thing I like about him. There's a consistency in that he just does his job, if I'm honest, man. I'll take Lavia over him, but Rice is my number one. If we don't get Rice's peak, seems like fans already think he's club. Exactly. This is why I keep saying, until man signed on the dotted line, Rice is calm. I guarantee when he comes, they'll see a better Rice than they do. Been hearing Lavia shouts from fans. I don't watch him enough to have an opinion. His availability is a big plus as well. Never really gets injured. Who are we referring to there? Declan, I assume. I don't, or maybe Caicedo. I don't want to overthink this summer. Gundogan, Rice, I'd take in midfield. I don't think we're going for Gundogan. Caicedo seems like pulling teeth all summer. Gundogan on a free focus on Rice. Arsenal failed to agree with a fee with Shakhtar after months. Who do you think has the highest ceiling, Rice or Caicedo? Honestly, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I really think Caicedo could be really, really good. And I think there's gears to go up in Rice's game. So I'm going to say Zubimendi. Honestly, I don't know. You think he'll be brought in to replace Partey? I don't know if he'll work with Xhaka. I think he'll work with Xhaka. And at least there would be something. There'd be something there, in terms of a direct replacement for Partey and someone that could replace Xhaka if he plays in further forward. Should Noari get a chance next season? If he's doing what he needs to do, then he's shown Arteta will give you opportunities, really. We're trying to be a Champions League club. We don't have time to be waffling about a 16, 17-year-old kid, as great as he is. Don't make no mistake. Hope he stays. But It's not like he says Fabregas at this moment in time. You know, I think he's going to be a crazy player. I think he is going to be a Premier League player. But Arsenal trying to be a consistent qualifier of the Champions League and aspire to do beyond that. Has he got the territory to confirm that? I would like every Haaland player to get more chances, but you can't have it all. You can't ask the club to bring in Rice, do this, do that, get rid of some players and expect them to get chances, man. Lavia will become a beast in midfield. Believe me, only thing I worry about is his availability. Everyone keeps saying this availability. I know he's had some injuries. Let's actually take that to VAR and see how many injuries he actually had. Transfer market. Let's see, because I don't know personally. Well, Google doesn't want to load. Most want Rice and Caicedo, but I'm more for Lavia and Zubamendi. Zubamendi, my top target. Obviously, he's not the sexiest of names and all of these sort of things. If Arteta, whoever Arteta wants the most, I'd love to see it. Unless I'm clicking something wrong. It's, to be fair, it said he's missed 8 games with a hamstring knock. It's a bit harsh. If we're talking about Lavia there, that's a bit harsh. He's had a hamstring knock. Cool. He's missed 55 days, 8 games. You know, injuries happen to everyone. I wouldn't say it's a mad list, really and truly. Maybe he's had some other injuries that I'm unaware of. I don't know why it's not brought up any injury history at City, but it's a bit harsh, surely. Availability is the best ability, you're right. Just patiently waiting on Szoboszlai links to pop up again, my type of 8. He's not really even been playing in the 8 role, though. And Lavia is brazy. Shout out my guy, Eagle-Eyed Football. Big up, bro. All 3 midfielders you're looking will be quality additions. That Rodri tackle on Odegaard was mad. It was crazy. I hope Odegaard's all right. But my thing is this. Like he said, all 3 would be crazy. There's a reality where Arsenal in a dream world could get 2, could get 3. 1 would be a blessing because everybody's wanted by everyone and we've got a congested area in midfield. But just make sure, for me, come the start of the season or when the market shuts, we've got this 8, we've got this 6. Today we're waffling about Lavia, Rice and Caicedo. Tomorrow it might be Telemans, Neves, Milinkovic-Savic, Benatia. Feel free to add some names, people, because there's been bare names. There might even be a guy unknown that Arteta is looking at. As long as we get 8 and a 6, I'm happy. I think we need both. We've needed both, in my opinion. Yeah, Xhaka has had a great time under Mikel Arteta, and I've always felt Xhaka's a decent player to have around. But going back to the summer, we signed Thomas Partey. We should have signed an 8 and a 6. In hindsight, maybe not signing or Leon not playing hardball, helped us. But we needed an 8 and a 6, and I still believe that. Maybe not so much now. By all means, I want the best of both worlds. I want the partnership of Xhaka and Partey. I want to see other players play with them or play in place of them, because we need to kind of flip it. You know, if Caicedo and Rice were to sign initially, based on what we see right now, they're probably going to be on the bench. Rotation options have to bide their time. Naturally, as time progresses at Arsenal, within that season or beyond, you want it to kind of Xhaka and Partey become the squad guys. Caicedo, for example, Rice, for example, become them guys, and you can now see some longevity that ties in with Odegaard, with Martinelli left or right wing, or Smith Rowe, with Bukayo Saka, etc. But I still want Xhaka and Partey. I actually want to keep them, unless they both say we want to leave at some point. Obviously, I don't want to keep them when they've inevitably fallen off, but I want to kind of keep them until they've both fallen off. I think people really undervalue. I think experience is overrated, but it can't be overstated. I think we need that balance of these young players and this experience. Experience doesn't always have to be necessarily age, and I'm not saying they're old, but yeah, man, you know, Jesus, Zinchenko, there's wealth of experience in the squad. Odegaard with his experiences now. I know Saka is inexperienced, but with the way he's been playing since he's 16, you saw him miss the penalty at the Euros and come back from it. Double figures in the Prem last season and now and counting. You probably have to, and if we're talking about our youth project, Saka's one of the most experienced players there, and he's decisive. So, and obviously Benjamin and Ramsdale, so that we are getting experience. But I don't think we can make wholesale changes, respectfully to El Nene and Jorginho, because I think you can't underestimate them. In an ideal world, you'd sign 2 players that have more longevity and are better than them. But we need to be a bit cute and clever with how we phase out players, because definitely since Arteta and Edu have come in, they've had to mop up a lot of the mess. And there's been, for me, too much instability, too much massive changes. And we're finally being a bit cute and clever and togetherness and all of that jazz, man. Make sure you're following Eagle-Eyed Football as well. Sambi to Palace, if we stay up, take him, man. I can't lie, if you lot stay up though, he might have to go to Burnley if Burnley get promoted, because Mr. Company said he's the next Yaya Toure. He reminds me of Yaya Toure. I want to see this Yaya Toure thing. I think the worst thing with Sambi is I don't want to call him gracious, because I don't think that's the right word, because for me, that's Luka Modric in that. But he's very gracious. He's not the most, he's a bit of a timid character from what you can see. And he's more of a cultured footballer. Like, you don't really see him in games, really. But when you do watch them, obviously, you see him do all right at times. The problem with Sambi is, if you're going to be at 8, unless Crystal Palace make you a madman, I can't see it happening here at Arsenal, because you look a bit immature in midfield, which at 23, I shouldn't say. I can see why you play 8, because the 6, you need to focus a bit more. But I'd rather Odegaard there. I'd rather Smith Rowe learn how to play that. I'd rather Fabio Vieira there. I'd rather bring in someone. You've got Granit over there as well. There's a million 8s I want to see before I see Lokonga. As a 6, I don't think you're mature enough, which I'd probably loan him back. If you lot stay up, have him on another loan, man. But yeah, I think it's looking like Lokonga's not going to get an opportunity. And I don't know him personally, but I think he needs a bit more self-belief in himself, man. You lot have made him look a bit better, believing himself amongst everything. He's doing all right, man. I haven't seen any shoddy performances for him. Out of him and Tavares and all them guys, I really want Lokonga to make it here, because, you know, if you really have your Toure potential, you're young, you're Belgium and all of that, but he needs minutes. And where Lokonga is concerned, I'm sure, you know, in life, if life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. I'm sure that, man said Arsene Wenger, Mikel Arteta, happy birthday to the gaffer. I'm sure he'd want to play him a lot more. But reality is, we're trying to establish what we used to be doing. And Xhaka is a better option. Partey is a better option. You know what you're going to get with a fit Jorginho and El Nene at this moment in time. So you're obsolete. It's like Smith Rowe. I'm sure Mikel Arteta would love to give him minutes, but right now you have to hold the bench, because Martinelli's taking your spot. Trossard's come out of nowhere. Odegaard is going from strength to strength. Saka is Saka. Eddie and Nketiah and Jesus have been doing what they're doing. So it doesn't matter if Smith Rowe can play as a false 9, as a 10, as an 8, or an inverted left winger, like Arteta has bigged up his abilities. The reality is, we need to play the best players to give ourselves the best chance of 3 points. And for me, I really do. I know you need to rotate players. We need depth. But I really like the fact that there's a lot more stability. We know the players that are going to play 9 times out of 10, week in, week out. Relationships are building. Saliba and Gabriel are going from strength to strength. You all see what Benjamin White and Saka have got going on. We see how the midfield ties into the defense and obviously the offense. And we see the many different relationships and the fluid engine that now is Arsenal, or specifically Mikel Arteta's football. So I'm here for it. But we've got to keep it going, man. The better we get, the less chances there are. You know, I think young players should always get chances. But if you're demanding Mikel Arteta to be competitive, there's not always scope to do none of that. We've got 10 games left. I would love some Highlanders to make their debuts, but I couldn't begrudge Mikel Arteta if he's reluctant to. Same way when we had a bag of, you know, Mika Berev, Marcelo Flores, Amari Hutchinson. Last season, a lot of them were travelling, but you could see at this moment in time, you lot are just bodies on the bench because of what we're trying to do. Not everyone's going to make it. You know, when you get a Saka sort of youngster, fair play. Would you rather Patino's next loan be in the Championship or Liga? I mean, minimum Championship. If he can go to a top 5 division, why not? He's doing quite well at Blackpool. What players in the starting 11 do we need to improve on to win the Champions League? I think White and Xhaka, maybe another striker. We need to be ruthless. Central midfield. Yeah, I'd say really just central midfield, really. Potentially up front. I love Ramsdale and Gabriel, but if you're talking winning the Champions League, I don't think them two are quite that at this moment. So in theory, if you was in the Champions League final tomorrow, I'd back them all the way. But yeah, I'd say that. We just need to be a lot better than we actually are, man. Xhaka would be a very good squad player, which is needed to compete in all comps. You know what you're getting with Xhaka. He wears his heart on his sleeve. I think the two are not correlated, my guy. But, you know, I love Charlie Patton. I think he's a typical Arsenal player. And I think, like Arteta said, slow cook the guy. Let him take his time and see what he's doing. We've got 69 likes, people. If you haven't hit the like button, what are you doing? Appreciative and appreciate everyone he has. I'm just happy we have this many midfielders on the shopping list this summer. Will be great. I'll be happy when we sign people. Zubamendi's a 6. Declan's athleticism and Prem experience. Declan will help bounce the midfield because of Jorginho and Xhaka are too immobile. They're only really immobile when they play together. Lavia is a thick. Okay, he's had bare injuries. That one there sounded a crazy description there. Fair enough. Pause. What upcoming games would you say will be the game that secures the title, if not, even if not mathematically? Eagle-eyed, I don't know if Arsenal are in the title challenge. I haven't seen the league table. I don't get hung up on these things. I'm just taking things game to game, week to week. So proud, so happy of what Mikel Arteta is doing. But I would say if I just take a trip and look at our last 10 games, it's the game you least expect, really. Like what? We've got Leeds on next Saturday. We've got Liverpool after that. We've got West Ham. We then have Southampton, City away, Chelsea at home after that, Newcastle away, Brighton at home, Forest away, and Wolves. 9 times out of 10, it's probably the game you think is probably the easiest one. Like on paper, it should be Southampton. That is probably the one, like with Bournemouth, that's going to be filled with drama. Well, probably could be Chelsea. I can't see a reality of winning the league mathematically, yeah, but I can't see a reality of winning the league without taking something off City. I'd take a point. I hope they lose to Liverpool in any game they play, but you're playing what you're playing. West Ham, Southampton, Nottingham Forest, and indirectly Wolves at a point. They're fighting to stay in the division. Brighton and Newcastle are pressing for Europe. Chelsea are just, nothing more in that game than bragging rights. City, you're fighting for the title. Liverpool are trying to do what they're doing. I mean, it probably gets run down to the last day of the season, but in an ideal world, you'd love it to be wrapped up for Chelsea at home, really. 10 cup finals, it literally is, man. Leeds as well, fighting for their lives. Caicedo is too basic, and the party role requires, I can't say that word. I hear that. Speaking of players, loan us Balogun next season, please. Bro, Balogun is welcome to go to Crystal Palace, because especially if you don't buy too many players, there's an option there for you, really. And it'd be nice to see him in the Premier League. The sudden boom of emerging forwards after the sudden near death to that position not so long ago is quite the discovery. I think Balogun will make it. I still think there isn't a widespread talent pool of mad strikers. Appreciate that. One of the hardest working fellas in the show business. I hear that, man. I have, man. It's boring. We'll clinch the title at game week 38. We are mathematically winners. I hear that. DG, I heard Arsenal have 69 points and 8 points clear of second. Is that true? I don't know. You'd have to look for yourself. I don't know. Foden and Grealish are allegedly out for 2 weeks. That's with Haaland. Obviously, people play a bit coy and play games around the international period, so people might be available. I can't lie. But if anyone's got the bodies to cope with these injuries and stuff like that, it's them, look. It's Manchester City. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So we'll have to see how these things develop, man. But now is not even the time to talk about transfers and that, because nobody's signed for the club. And even if they are, they can't play till next season. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. Charlie's been performing well. If he asserts himself during pre-season, he could potentially get a squad. Well, he could, but I don't want to see Charlie get a squad. Well, if Arteta says it's one where you're going to get games, great. But I would love for him to play, I think, one more year of playing week in, week out. Like Eagle said, or whoever said it, if you could get a bump up to playing in the Prem or playing in a top 5 league, I just think you have to just take our time with him and he'll be all right, man. Honestly, I think if we just take our time, he's an Arsenal player. He's developing physically. He's developing in terms of consistency. I don't know if Foden's been confirmed surgery or anything like that. From a health perspective, you hope that isn't the case. But that's potentially peak, man. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to see that. Grealish had an operation, out for 4 weeks plus, and Foden I don't know about any of that, man. I don't know, man. I'll wait for confirmation on that, man. You look like to make things up on these internet things. You've heard Foden out, Grealish out, Saka out. To be fair, you weren't gapping. Had his appendix out. Damn. That just sounds painful. No clue in truth what actually goes beyond that procedure, but damn. That's a madness. Big up, bro. Been a nice, stress-free season so far. Looking forward to the next 10 games and transfers for next season. Amen. I wouldn't say stress-free. I don't think Rodri was intentionally trying to injure Odegaard. Arteta seems to be looking at Premier League experienced players. I'd say Balogun and Patton will continue their loan experience next season. And if they continue to perform at a high level, they become contenders within our squad. Saliba is the best example on how to develop young talents. I wouldn't necessarily say the best example, but it's a very good example and why you shouldn't draw conclusions. Every week, Arsenal fans will say, Arteta's not convinced he's not going to get an opportunity. And even now, there's still raw elements of his game, but you can see how good he's been. So we just need to take time with the guy, man. DG, who do you reckon is more important to Pep, Grealish or Foden? Long-term Foden. At the moment, undoubtedly Grealish. Grealish, one of the first names on the team sheet at City at this moment in time. If he could miss one player, who would he choose? I reckon he values Grealish more. Grealish, yeah. I think Foden at this moment in time, but there's been times Foden's been the first name on the team sheet. Every now and again, you look at City and there's a player that's obviously everyone's got ability. So in a nice way, they're within the City team, they're all average. But there's a second where if you're not doing the business, you're not going to play. You've seen Kevin De Bruyne be on the bench, but there's always a period where Mahrez has done it, Bernardo's done it, Foden's done it, Grealish at the moment, where one of them more attacking players is really, their form is really out of this world. DG, since we have strikers that ain't target man, would you get one in the summer? If you could find that Giroud sort, why not? But I don't reckon we go for a striker. I reckon Odegaard's on form. Mahrez he would be fit. Mahrez on form is on form too, not to be underestimated. But City have a bunch of players, you know. You ain't got Haaland, you've got Julian Alvarez. You ain't got Foden, you've got Kevin and several others. Like, their squad is littered with talent. I'm still taking Giroud. In theory, yes, probably not what we need. No disrespect to the player, but they don't need Foden to go on a mad run. Exactly. How many players do they need, really? I hope they don't do it. I hope Liverpool can do something for us, but I still expect City to, at some point, just go on a mad run, go undefeated, go unbeaten, and ultimately never lose a game of football, if I'm completely honest with you, to the end of the season. I just think maybe I'm lying. Maybe it's just fear, but this is what, you know, I'd like to go off history. This is what City have kind of been showing us people, really, historically. I mean, you got to remember Patino's 18, 19, so he does need to bulk up a bit, but there's a hormonal element around it. Like, physically, the man's still developing. I do think, especially in today's day and age, for all these young players, if you make your debut at 16, 17, 18, people expect you to play 5 games and you be the guy. It doesn't work like that, really, you know. Eddie's nothing to write home about, respectfully to him, but he needed a bit of time to get to a level. Smith Rowe as well. Balogun is starting to show his form as well. And as I always say, I'm not saying Balogun's been better than them, but you look at Harry Kane, Vardy, Aubameyang, where were they at 22, 23? I do think in this day and age where everybody's a superstar, everyone's the next this, we live in a world where if there's a youth that 16, 17, he plays one game in a Brazilian league, he's getting bought by other clubs for 40, 50 million. You know, managers are gassed up based on potential now. I think people really underestimate development and patience. Saliba like someone said earlier, Saliba shows that, and it's still even got raw elements to his game as well. Benjamin White looks twice the player he was last season to a certain degree. Or to be fair, at a point last season, it really clicked in my opinion for Benjamin. I think we have to come away from the Etihad with something, and the same for Anfield. Bro, we got to go Anfield. We got to go to the Etihad. We got to go St. James's Park. We got to welcome Chelsea. We're fighting teams that are aspiring for Europe. Brighton, home or away, is always nervy. We're fighting teams that are fighting for their lives as well. And to be fair, them teams there have been the ones that have kind of given us some problems, if I'm completely honest with you. We know the Bournemouth game. We know the West Ham game. We needed to wait a bit. You know, we got dealt with Everton away, unfortunately. Crystal Palace, fair enough, exception to the rule. Who else is there? Wolves, we kind of started going into doing some silly things towards the end of the game. Bournemouth, I don't know if I've said that already. It's been them sort of games there which cause more of an issue. City will face Liverpool without Haaland, Foden, and Grealish disadvantage. It is what it is, man. Like, I wouldn't read too much into that. Brighton coming to the Emirates scares me, bro. Brighton is too fit. I don't look forward to Crystal Palace away, Brighton away or at home, Old Trafford, because statistically, Goodison Park, St. Mary's, and I think all 3 of them grounds we've not had the best of days. Spurs away in the last few years of what we've become as a club, but we're turning that one over. No one wants to play Brentford away as well. Nasty fixture. Happy we got that out of the way. You know, there's a lot of nasty fixtures. It's cliche. Everybody says it, but there's really and truly no easy games in the Premier League. DG, I personally think we have a better chance against City than Liverpool. The matchup suits better against Liverpool, except for the Robert Haaland. I don't know, man. I'm just going to take every game as it comes. What I would say is, you didn't win at Goodison Park. You didn't win at St. Mary's. You didn't win at Old Trafford. You know, it'd be nice to win at Anfield. You know, and the last time we went up Liverpool sides, went to Goodison Park, their blue neighbours, we got dealt with. So go and deal with that. And if we want to be a team where this becomes the expectation, we need to be able to win these games to the point where we have confidence. Let's be real. Historically, our record, definitely of, I say recent years to be kind, definitely Liverpool home and away, but Liverpool away, it's nasty. And there's many other clubs that are like that. We now need to be making these records, you know, great. That's deep. I was watching women's football earlier today, but I just don't watch it. It's historically, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I think we all need to get into it. For me, it's not to do with gender or whatever, you know. Don't rap me, social media people, please. But it's not that it's not good. It's just not that interesting for me, really and truly. If Arsenal play, fair enough. Like, I'll support Arsenal and stuff like that. Or, you know, there's a couple of women's footballers that are really good to watch, but watching it week in, week out, it's just not an attractive opportunity to me, really, if I'm honest. But I've been doing my bit to watch it a lot more, and I think we all need to, man. I think what the FA should do is probably work on the technical level of the footballers. It's not entertaining for me to watch, and that goes for certain men's leagues as well, if I'm completely honest with you. Balogun is better than Nketiah. Loan both of them next season and bring in Vlahovic and Diaby. I don't know where. I'm not saying you're wrong, but like, how do we define that? I hear you. On one hand, Balogun could sit there and say, "Boy, I've got 17 league goals. Eddie's never done that in a season." Eddie, in his defense, we could sit here and say, "Well, I found a role for myself at Arsenal." I don't know if Balogun could do that. In Eddie's defense, he might say, "Well, if I went France in your the same conditions, I might have 17, 18 goals." Because Jonathan David's found his goal scoring boots again. Lacazette's somewhat leading the chart, the charts as well. So who knows? You would be surprised how the game is played at that level, but I respect your opinion. Who? I think Edu needs to move fast from the first day of the. Oh, your mock comments gone. I think Edu needs to move fast from the first day of the summer transfer window. Other clubs, especially Chelsea, will try to hijack our targets again. We just need to do what we did last year. We got players in early. Are you doing a watch along for the England game? Myth, absolute myth. And Nketiah has never scored 5+ goals in his career, even in the Championship. It's brazy. But has he ever had the consistent chance? Because you weren't in the squad week in, week out at Leeds. You know, I think Balogun has got more potential. I think Eddie Nketiah is probably ahead of the stuff Arteta demands of his striker, but I think Balogun has got a higher ceiling and things. But is it a shiny new toy? Had we have kept Balogun and he was playing exactly like Eddie, he would have got his plaudits, and Eddie Nketiah went to France and was shelling it down. We might sit here and say different things, really. Vlahovic, not an upgrade on what we have, not worth the price Juventus will put on his head. I think it's not worth the price. I wouldn't say it's not an upgrade on some players. Any news on Aziz? I mean, he's at Wigan, and it seems like Wigan are not paying their players. They've got rid of a couple of gaffers during their time. Stuff's getting real, and also Morekic. I mean, Aziz is hardly laying down a marker at Wigan. You know, he's still young enough to have a future, but it appears at this moment in time that his future lies away from Arsenal Football Club, in my opinion. Unfortunately, Bukayo Saka is starting for England. Still no Aaron Ramsdale start. Don't know what's going on there, but Jordan Pickford, Kyle Walker, Ben Chilwell, Arsenal midfielder Declan Rice, John Stones, Harry Maguire, Bukayo Saka, Jordan Henderson, Harry Kane, Bellingham, and James Maddison. Don't think we're bringing in a striker. Would like one, but it's probably not the priority. Amen. It's not a faster move or not by Edu. It's all about our achievement in the EPL this season. If we won the EPL Cup, that would be a good selling point to buy players. And Nketiah was benching Lacazette a handful of times, and he's gone France and killed it. So we can't really compare them until Balogun is given the same chance over here. But the same people did tell with, again, we can entertain the conversation. My pet peeve is this. The same guys that are making, and I agree with you, that are making sweeping statements on Balogun and Eddie Nketiah. When Balogun inevitably has struggles at Arsenal, they're going to see, I told you he's overrated. That's the first thing, because people think you go on loan, you come back, and you're lit straight away, even though it helped Smith Rowe. It weren't that. It weren't that for Eddie. Who would you rather take, Ruben Neves or Declan? Declan. But I'd say, actually, Ruben Neves is probably my more sort of footballer if I was a manager, really. But I'd take Declan. 7 more likes and we've hit 100. Do you think we will go for Victor Rugg if Barca can't sign him? If Barca can't sign him, then why not? But it seems, when you read the papers, the lad's had his head turned in it. Like they've won that. Obviously, you hear rumors every now and again about, you know, their financial situation. You know, Barcelona will find a way to print a positive bank balance and somehow get around these things. But yeah, man, I'd say that. The second Kazakhstan goal is a banger too. Højlund needs to raise it now. So, yeah, we don't know, man. And we've got to remember these strikers are young. I don't know. There's a reality where Eddie and Balogun could both make it at Arsenal. One guy makes it at Arsenal or none make it at Arsenal, really. And this is why I'm happy that we've got them tied down, because fair enough, we might look at Eddie or Balogun if we sold them tomorrow and said, oh, what could have happened there? But we've made money. Because I'm not going to lie, both of them, you know, have to remember Trossard's probably ahead of them at this moment in time. You've got Jesus there. The club could always bring in a striker, even though I think they won't. And whether you're a striker, a midfielder, a winger, there's only so many of you that could be on the bench, because Arteta also has to make sure he's got a goalie, got options at left back, right back, and centre half, according to if things are going wrong in the game or whatever, man. It is what it is in that regards. So, yeah, man. I'm not going to lie, Vlahovic does look like a thingy, a blessing in disguise, as does Mudryk and to a degree Rafinha, but you never know. I don't know where we are, mate. But yeah, shout out Blood Type Arsenal. It is what it is. Let me have one last look for Arsenal news, man. Lie to us. Tell us Messi's not renewing his deal at Paris Saint-Germain and he's joining us. Come on, man. It's not like that thing. Maddison left wing to accommodate Henderson in midfield is comical. Southgate doing Southgate things. And you lot want me to do watch along for that? Allow me. Allow me. You know I'm always here for you lot. Content. But come on, man. And people always forget the late developer aspect as well. And people don't respect Nketiah. It's quite jarring. He might not be the answer. I do think there's a lot of things he needs to improve. I think there's times Eddie can do better with his passing, sometimes I don't think he's selfish enough. Sometimes I think he's too selfish. Do I think you're the guy? No, I think this is kind of not your ceiling, but until you become a proper goal scorer, I think this is kind of your row at Arsenal. But people are very disrespectful to Eddie Nketiah. You know, I think a lot of fans, I'm not talking for the fans that like him or don't like him and can talk if he has a good game, a bad game or whatnot, talking about the scapegoating. There's been times he's scored and not been that good off the ball. There's been times his performances this season have deserved a goal. There's been times he's done well and got a goal and it's a good reward. And Eddie Nketiah, did his thing. 11 games, he did well in his little part and the rest of the players as well. You need a squad. You know, hopefully, God forbid, I hope Saliba is back for Leeds, but hopefully Rob Holding can do that sort of thing. Eddie did what he needed to do, and I think whether you like Eddie or not, he's shown that he's now become the second choice striker, arguably, give or take, with Trossard. He's just become a decent squad player. You can see why he's here, and giving him that new deal has backed him up. He's kept doing what he did last season when he got his chance, and in theory, he's a second choice striker. Whether he's able to maintain that, improve upon that, and be that forever with Balogun, with Trossard's emergent, with some fans like myself, if we could get a striker, whether that's a target man because he's something different or someone to elevate this squad, of course we'd want that. But that goes for everyone. That's why you're at Arsenal Football Club. When you reach the pinnacle, wearing a number 10, a 7, a 14 at any club, but specifically us, definitely the 14 with us. The only way is down. Like, you're at the top of the mountain. Saka is not playing because he's a nice guy and we love him and stuff. All of that stuff is great and it's there. He's there because he's held on to his shirt. Smith Rowe held on to his shirt. He's been injured. He lost that. Big Gabby. He's been doing his thing as well. What is your dream signing in the summer, DG? Can be completely unrealistic. Jude Bellingham, Messi, Mbappe. Since you said unrealistic, I want to shoot for the stars, man. Vinicius Jr., De Jong, Frankie De Jong. Neymar. You said dream, innit? Not really. I wouldn't put it in the dream category, but Skriniar. Camavinga, hey, bring him. It's mad to me how Eddie is spoken about. In my eyes, he's still ahead of Flo. He's more dependable. I mean, Balogun hasn't got the chance. Eddie's shown he can do a thing. Who would you prefer up front, Martinelli or Eddie? At this moment in time, Eddie Nketiah, because he's more just a striker in it, and I think Martinelli can learn to do that. He's shown he can do that, but he's not mature. I don't think Martinelli's ready to do that, especially with his back to goal, really. Unless you're going to do that stuff where it's Jesus or Trossard and you're doing that interchanging stuff, I'd rather Eddie Nketiah through there. I love Nketiah as an Arsenal player, but he frustrates me sometimes. He does so well until the finish. He's an almost player, kind of reminds me of a young Danny Welbeck. I hear that. To be honest, yeah, unpopular opinion, I think we could do with Danny Welbeck in the squad. And this is coming from someone who was on the verge of... I'm not saying to buy him, obviously, but I was on the verge of tears when we signed Danny Welbeck. God forgive me, and I'm not bad, man, but I was praying. You know, sometimes when a player moves to a club and the medical says, they've got an injury and it gets cancelled, I was praying that happened. God forgive me, I was. But he was a much better player for us, then I give you credit. And especially, ironically, link-up player of Alexis Sanchez and his ability to play up front as well as on the left. So it's nice to see him still doing his thing for Brighton. If Gravenberch was available in the summer, DG, would you sign him? For me, he's perfect for the 8 role. He's still a bit too immature, and I think they'd be crazy to get rid of him. But yeah, why not, man? And Via's at this point, that Envia guy was linked with us so much. He's an Arsenal player, man. He played for our football club. Without a doubt, he played for our football club. He was linked too much. You was at Alen. You was at London Coley. You had a shirt. You was linked with us too much. I've spoken on Rodri, and Conku would be perfect. Allegedly, would he though? Because yeah, you're a false 9 in that, but we probably need a traditional sort of forward. We've got Jesus and pair of them sort of guys, and plus Nkunku, that one's dead because he's gone Chelsea. Who knows? Chelsea might mash him up and we can get him a few years from now. Had to, man. His name. Kareem Adeyemi. Bring him. Right, Denmark bottled a 2-goal lead. Crazy. But yeah, people, with that being said, we've been here for an hour and 10 minutes. Appreciate you lot's talking points. Appreciate you lot on Twitch. Appreciate you lot who've hit the like button. It's been a fantastic one. If there's any Arsenal news to discuss tomorrow and any other live streams, you know I'll be there. Make sure you've turned on your notifications. Make sure you're checking out the YouTube community tab and you're following on Twitter and all of those good things, people. A couple of actual videos to come out as well, so make sure your notifications are on. But you lot stay safe, stay blessed, enjoy what's left of your weekend.
There's always just that active red light defending. I've been given like. There's always just that active red light defending. I've been given like.